Hi, Lisa. You are doing so much better. The flat walk is beautiful, and I'll get to that in a minute. But her head carriage and all of that is so much better than it was before. So you've been working really hard, and it's paid off. The things I would do to start with is, one, with your arms, be conscious if you're pumping them. I don't want you to follow her mouth. Some people think you really need to follow their mouth, but when their head is going up and down, you pretty much want to stay still and just let them work off of the bit. The more motion we cause, then it causes more things happening in their mouth because their head is going up and down. So with your arms, if you watch, your arms are moving, and they might be moving just because your horse is moving. So if that's what's happening, that's fine. But if you're pumping your arms because you're trying to follow her mouth, then I would just try to keep your arms still. The other thing I want to mention is, I know you said the other direction is her worst direction. She kept cutting in. So whichever her worst direction is, and in most horses it's to the right because we do everything on the left, work that direction more. So work to the right more, then you go to the left. So if you go to the right 5 minutes, then go to the left 2 minutes. If you go to the right 10 minutes, then go to the left 5 minutes. So you're trying to increase the time that you're working on her bad side so she gets stronger and it evens her out. And you want to do the bad side first. So in this video, you started to the left. I would start to the right. And then if she's having problems where she's cutting in and she's not listening to your leg, I would do two things. I would have a little spur on your heel. And that way, if she's cutting in, that will poke her just a little bit more to make her more sensitive so they don't ignore your leg. A lot of horses will ignore your leg. The back of your heel on the boot will be dull, so it's very easy for them to lean on it. But if you have a little spur there, they don't want to lean on something that's poking them in the side. So it'll help you to get more bend out of them. And all you do is you ask with your calf and your leg first. And then if they're leaning in and not responding, you turn your toe out, raise your heel up into their side until they give to that spur and arc their body. And then you take that spur out. So you're not going to kick her. You're just touching her with it and pressing her into the side so she doesn't want to lean on it. And then you just have those spurs on. So anytime you need them, they're there to help you. Also, in part of the video, I know you said she was getting tired and she wasn't going forward. If you're having to use a lot of leg to get her to go forward, carry a stick. And it's best to use a dressage whip so it goes across your leg. And then tap her behind your leg if she's not listening to you, okay? And then before I forget, on some of the times when you were doing the shoulder in and then you were turning her around, you're looking down at her and staring at her. So you can glance at her, but then you want your eyes up where you're going. And when you're doing that shoulder in, you just do it for a couple of steps here and there. You don't want to do it all the way around because it is a hard movement. So you do it a couple of steps, then reward the horse, let them go forward again, and then you can do a couple more steps and then reward the horse, go forward again. Because again, it is a difficult movement, so it's hard to keep them in it all the time. And when you do it, I like to ask them to do it, then release the leg when they are doing it correctly as the reward. So you're not keeping your leg into them the whole time. All right, so let's go back to your flat walk. So your flat walk speed is good. The only thing that's happening is sometimes she does get a little faster and go more towards the foxtrot. The video's long, so I don't know if I'll find it because now I'm kind of scanning back, but I did watch the whole thing. So you're trying to make sure you feel that sensation of you moving back and forth in the saddle. And anytime she starts to change her gait and you feel the footfall changing, if you can feel it, just half halt, bring her back, and then push her to go again. So she understands to stay that speed and to keep the same footfall. as you're going around, as I mentioned before, when you go downhill, they will usually get more lateral. When you go uphill, they will usually go more trotty, okay? So you want to keep that in the back of your mind, because as you're going uphill, she might then go more towards the foxtrot. So you might have to go a little slower uphill, but you can keep the speed going downhill unless she's foxtrotting, okay? So again, try not to pump the arms. Since she's trotty, your body position is good. We're sitting back more, your eyes are up, your shoulders are over your hips, which is good, and the legs a little forward like it's in a chair seat, but that's gonna help her to gait since she's so trotty. Once we get that she can gait very well, then we would like to bring that leg back underneath you a little bit more to balance over her, but not at this point in time since we're still helping her with the gait. Again, you're doing very well. You're keeping her head up. And what I would try to do now is, if you can, again, try to keep the hands still. And once you ask her to keep the head up, if she is doing it, try to push your arms forward and release a little bit more on her. So in the beginning, we usually have to micromanage them so they understand what to do. But then as they're getting it, and it definitely looks like you two are getting it, then you want to start to ask her to keep that head up, to go that speed, and then release a little bit more so she can try to do it on her own, and then correct her if she's starting to come out of it. So that's the hard part, is we start micromanaging them to show them what to do, but then we have to reward that effort by giving her more releases. The other thing I would do is, as you're going around, it looks like you're keeping a little inside bend on her. What I would do is try to bend her for 3 steps and then release her. Bend her for 3 steps and then release her. So as you bend her, squeeze and relax on that inside rein. And as you do that, touch her with your inside leg at the same time. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, then release. Let her go like 3 steps and then try it again. 1, 2, 3, and to bend her and then release. So you're trying to show her what to do, but then again, giving her time to carry herself and to see if she understands what you're asking her to do instead of holding her in it the whole time, okay? But with her head up, I don't think she needs to be tucked in right now. I think you're doing a fine job keeping her in gait. And again, we just want the head where they can carry themselves comfortably, but right now we have to keep her head up a little bit because she was so used to keeping it so low, and then that was making her more trotty. So your footfall, you have a clear 4-beat footfall. The only thing that changes is sometimes when you'll see you get a little bounce in the saddle, that's when she's going more towards a foxtrot, okay? So you just want to try to be aware as you're going around to try to keep that rhythm just a little bit more. Again, I think you're doing fantastic. You have done a great job. But now you're going to be even a little bit more precise in making sure you keep that back and forth motion and you don't feel yourself going up and down at all. But remember, going uphill will make her trotty. Going downhill will make her go more towards the lateral side of the gaits. So they're going downhill, usually you can speed the trotty ones up a little bit. Now, I know the footing's different there and you're on grass. When you go to practice your foxtrot and you're not videotaping, I see a road there and it looks like it's going up. So that would be a great place to practice your foxtrot because you'll also be able to hear the footfall, which will also make a difference, okay? So with the flat walk and with the running walk and the foxtrot, their head goes up and down, okay? If their head's not going up and down and it's bouncy, you're going more towards a hard trot. If their head's not going up and down and it's smooth, you're usually going more towards a saddle gait, which I did not see her do in this video at all. Now I'm going to stop you for a second. So I know she got tired during the video, and I know you're trying to videotape to show me things, but after you do that flat walk, because you kind of videotape the whole thing, I would give her more break. I would give her a couple of minutes, let her put her head down and relax. And if she tries to eat grass the whole time, then give her the break over there where there's no grass that she will be reaching for, okay? But I don't mind if you give her grass as long as you can get her head up and she's not starting to be a grass grabber or anything like that. But give her a couple of minutes of a break, and always do it when she's doing the correct thing. Now with the Pivo, the Pivo does this to me as well. It goes light and dark, and it'll focus, and then it'll scan in and out. I do not know the secret to that. So if you find out the secret, you let me know, because I do have a Pivo too, and it does it as well. I have found that sometimes it has to do with the sun and how it's hitting our phone when it's in the Pivo, and that can change some things. So sometimes I try to put it in the shade to see if that works better, and sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But I think your speed of your flat walk is good. I think the body position of you riding her is good, except for the arms pumping, and I think her frame is very nice, and she's holding that gait and the speed very well. Just again, pay attention to you moving back and forth versus bouncing up and down. And if you feel that little soft bounce, just to half halt as you give a little leg, and you might have to slow it down to get her back into the flat walk so she doesn't go towards the foxtrot. Okay, now I'm gonna scan ahead. But I think you said this was her bad direction. The hard part, of course, in the video, it doesn't look that bad. But I would do the same thing about bending her as you're going around. Bend her for 3 steps, squeezing and releasing on the rein as you're pressing with your leg. And again, a little spur would help. I have links to those that I can send you if you're interested. And then reward her by going forward 3 steps, and then bend her again 3 steps and go forward again. But again, if I was training her and I knew the bad direction was to the right, I would do that direction first, and I would make lots of circles, serpentines, and patterns at the walk before I started to go towards the flat walk to help her become more supple. So this is where you're doing the shoulder in. A little spur or even a stick would help you a little bit more, because I know she's ignoring you, and then you're kind of keeping that leg on her. It makes a huge difference instead of nagging the horse. People feel bad using spurs, but the spur is more kind than us jamming that leg on them the whole time. Just a little touch on the side will usually make the horse a lot more responsive, and it does not hurt them. The dull ones are just like us kind of poking our finger in their side there. So now you're starting to go for more speed. And this is the hard part. When you're completely still, she's going to be going more towards that flat walk. When you get that little, it's supposed to be a soft bounce up and down when you're doing your foxtrot. It is going to feel more like a quarter horse's jog, because a quarter horse's jog is usually quite smooth and you don't bounce around a lot, but you do feel that the horse is trotting. So with the foxtrot, the horse's head should go up and down. You should feel a soft bounce in the saddle. If you're unsure if they're hard trotting, then what you can try to do is post. If you cannot post, but you're bouncing up and down, they are doing a foxtrot, especially if their head is going up and down and their tail is kind of waving back behind them, okay? Because the tail does change as you do different gaits. But as you're going around, she's kind of in and out of the foxtrot. So what I would do is when you're doing the flat walk, alternate your legs, squeeze with one leg and then the other, pushing her forward. When you go to do the foxtrot, go to both legs. And I would ask her for a little bit more speed. Anytime she trots, you can either stop, back up, and immediately go forward, and don't pet her, because I saw you do that the one time, because that's rewarding her and then she thinks she's doing the right thing. You want to stop, back up, and then immediately go forward, okay? Otherwise, if she trots, the other thing you can do, because now she's so much better, is just half halt, slow her down, and in your brain think, I want to do a quarter horse jog, and just slow her down a little bit, and that will usually get you right into that foxtrot. So the things I'm seeing here is she is in and out of the foxtrot. She does it for a couple of steps, and then she's going back to a flat walk. So you need a little bit more leg. You might need to carry a dressage whip to help you, just to wave it. And again, by giving her more breaks, she'll have more energy, okay? So let's watch you a little bit. So again, it shouldn't be a hard bounce and a bounce that you can post to. It should just be an up and down motion with the horse's head going up and down. And still a 4-beat diagonal gait. Sorry, it keeps going dark and then it's hard for me to see what's exactly going on. So you're going more towards it. So I would be using more leg and a little stick to get her going more. I think you've conquered the flat walk pretty much. So now we want to work harder on getting this foxtrot going. So a little bit more leg, a little tap with the stick to get her going, just very light taps, because if you tap her too hard, she might go up into that trot. And again, when you're going towards the foxtrot, I don't see her going into a pace or anything. So what I would do is, as you're trying to speed her up, like right now her headset's quite nice, but I would bring her head up a little higher, like up towards, let me stop it for a second. So you see where her head is now? It's about here. I would try to bring her head up a little bit higher as you're going for your foxtrot. What that does is cause them to have more tension in their neck and their spine, and that will make them a little bit more lateral so they don't get as trotty. The whole thing with the head down and the head up is not so much the position of the head, but how the head affects their spine. And we're either getting relaxation by bringing their head down, or we're getting tension by bringing it up. So with the trotty ones, we want to get a little bit more tension. You're getting some of it there, but of course I was talking. So you might have to push her where you feel her go into a trot, especially if you're unsure. Get her into that trot, and then like there, and then just half halt, but have your leg on her so she keeps going, and then you just feel that little soft bounce, and then stop, reward her, and keep doing that over and over again. Anytime you do turns, I think you might be doing a turn now. Well, now you're backing up. Don't look down at her. Try to keep your eyes up over her ears anytime you're doing a turn or you're doing a back up. So look up and sit up nice and tall instead of leaning forward and kind of, there you look like you were kind of hanging off the side, but I know it's hard because it's dark. There you're getting a little bit of it. I think you're almost being too cautious of going into that trot. So start adding a little bit more leg. Raise her head higher so her ears are kind of up by your chest or bra level. And I think you're going to get it by the next time you send me a video. But I think you're doing quite good. Again, it should not be a hard bounce. It should be a soft, comfortable bounce. And then if it's starting to get bouncier, just half halt, raise your head up more, slow it down just a little bit until you feel that soft bounce. But I would keep a little bit more leg on her so she knows to keep going a little bit faster speed. There, you're doing pretty well. Okay. But overall, I think it's much, much better. So again, the things I would do is just try to make the flat walk a little bit more consistent, that she doesn't go towards the foxtrot. So don't push too much for any more speed at the flat walk. But when you do go to the foxtrot, I do want you to push for more speed and keep her head higher, sit back more so we can get a little bit more tension in her neck and back to help her to get that foxtrot, okay? And then if you have more questions, let me know.